Greetings. I recently asked someone if you could be educated to be ignorant. And it may sound like a bit of a paradox because education, in essence, or based on the context in which it is used, in which most of us understood it, because not many of us would go to the dictionary to look up words that we grew up hearing. So within the context of the word education that we get, basically, I guess a 101 definition would be the sharing of knowledge to enable the recipient, or to provide the recipient with some useful munitions in their day-to-day life, basically, in essence. And I sat down and I thought about a native African coming to Europe or the West, America, and undertaking an IQ test. And of course, we know the West is controlled by a certain set of people who have an agenda, and their agenda is to show themselves as superior. I shouldn't say prove, because you cannot prove white supremacy. It's non-existent and it never will be. It's an oxymoron in itself. There's nothing supreme about white. So to kind of give the illusion of their supremacy, they set their IQ test in such a way that if you're not of a European standing, or you're not a European sympathizer, then a lot of the crap that they ask you in most of their IQ tests is stuff that you wouldn't even have looked up at any point in your life. And with regards to basic common stuff, I guess, and outside of mathematical calculations and that kind of thing, I guess there wasn't much else that we would really be able to answer credibly. And I put that in quotation. Why? Because the education given in the West is based on lies and fallacies designed to portray a superior white individual. So you have Hippocrates as the father of medicine, which is utter BS, because Hippocrates and most of them at that time studied, went to school in Africa, in Egypt. The oldest university on our planet still today exists in Africa. We were studying the universe when a lot of Europe was still in darkness. So education, as it is given in the West, for a native African to come and do an IQ test in the West, most likely they will fail, because a lot of the BS they were taught in the schools in the West are lies and fallacy. So if you would genuinely educate, let's say you were homeschooled as an African, and you were given genuine African history, taught of the way Europe invaded the world and enslaved Africans and that sort of stuff, then the student's perspective is different from hearing that Europe conquered the world, because that way you're giving the title of conquerors, making it sound noble or valiant or great, to what would have been considered a bunch of invading savages if Africans had done the same thing. So the education given in the West is ultimate BS. IQ tests, therefore, based on the stuff that the Western societies use to educate their kids and their societies, their people, is bullcrap, is lies. And then from the religious perspective, that's a whole lot of issue, because we know amongst the first humanoid figures that Europeans worship was the Venus of Willendorf, who, if I'm not mistaken, looked like a little pygmy woman, a little black African pygmy woman. And somewhere along the line, it got switched from worshiping the black woman to worshiping the white man. And then the rest of the world suddenly felt that it was logical and acceptable that three men, a dad, his son, and a sacred spook, which is more or less an incestuous homosexual threesome, all sharing most likely XX genes, and suddenly they made XY women. They made man, and not only did they make man, they made the woman out of man's rib. Scientifically, that makes no sense. You cloning from a man, you will get another man. That is called cloning. So that in itself, but that's a whole other topic. So what I'm trying to get at with this video is a lot of the things that you've been taught, especially in the West, you have to unlearn it. History as taught by the West gives the title of conquerors to invading murderers. They give the title of savages to some of the most noble people on the planet. Another way, another form of being educated to be dumb and ignorant is to believe that God gave you the right to conquer the earth when ultimately you were the last creature to be put on the earth, failing to realize that you should live as one with the earth. Nobody wins from a conquering. Any kind of conquering brings the destruction of something. Harmonizing gives longevity to most everything. So there again you see the different kinds of education, indoctrination, and the natures of people. Africans and natives of the earth have always dwelled in harmony, in oneness with our planet. Invasive, marauding savages, the white creatures, are the ones who are destroying our planet. Do not let them use their media monopoly to fool you. Open your eye and wake up, wise up, and rise up. The people who have invaded most of the earth have absolutely no right or moral authority to tell anybody else who should go and live where. So for them to be stopping El Salvadorians and Ecuadorians and them from migrating to the US is disrespectful, because had the Navajo and the Cherokee come together as a group, as a united front, and destroyed them all, this history would have been totally different. Wake up, wise up, and rise up, man. Rastafari live, rules, and reigns.